It's a very good morning to you again, wherever you're watching the program, development segment, on the platform of T.N.N.TV channels, Abuja. But basically today, we're in Ekiti State, in the southwest part of Nigeria, where we're going to be talking politics. Politics that has actually taken further step higher than what it used to be, because this is 21st century. And our guest on this program today is one of the political icons in the Southwest, a former deputy governor of Ekiti State, a professor of high repute, a man of timber and caliber, whose philosophy and ideology has actually been centered on developing human capacity building. Everywhere you're watching, if this is your first time of watching the program, don't forget to press the subscribe button, and you can also reach us on www.tnntvchannels.com. And after this time out, you will be shocked of the reactions that actually be on the air. Our guest for today is going to do proper justice to some of the things we needed to know as far as Ekiti politics is concerned. 2022, the decision of Ekiti people. He was the candidate of People Democratic Party in the last election, and right now we'll be seeing a lot of posters, we'll be seeing a lot of agitations, we'll be seeing a lot of political groups who have actually been calling on this very person to come out again and run for the office of the governor in Ekiti State. I'm talking in person of His Excellency Professor Kolapo O.Eleka-Tnntv. Join me as I bring our guest on the show. I remain your host, Sheon Akinde. A very good morning to you, Your Excellency.
Good morning, Mr. Sheon.
I must confess, you're looking more fresh and very younger at this very time compared to when you were in power, when you were in seat as the deputy governor of the state. But to God be the glory, we're happy to have you on this show.
Thank you, thank you.
Sir, a lot of people have actually wanted you to come on this platform, development segment, the program where we bring dignitaries from different spheres of life all over Africa, and of course, getting your antecedents and some of the things you believed in. It is very, very fundamental that you come on this show to portray some of your ideology that people have actually been building through. Who is Professor O.Eleka-Tnntv?
Well, thank you, Mr. Sheon Akinde. It's been quite a while.
Welcome, sir.
And let me commend you for your good works on T.N.N.TV channels. I've been following you, and I believe you'll be doing well. And by the grace of God, Kolapo O.Eleka is a bona fide son of the Eleka's family from Ikere in Ekiti State, and by the grace of God, I was the immediate past deputy governor of Ekiti State between 2014 to 2018, and at the same time, around 2018, I was the gubernatorial candidate for People's Democratic Party in the 2018 election. By the grace of God, I am a professor of building, formerly of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife.
Interesting. Professor, I call you His Excellency. You agree with me that that last election was a very tough one between your person and the Ikupe governor of today, Dr. John Kayode Fayemi. It was perceived that that election was not does not go the way the People's Democratic Party wanted it. But would you say that election was fair enough to be the decision of the people of Ekiti State?
Well, I wouldn't want to agree with that it was a fair, it was a reflection of the fair decision of Ekiti people. There are a lot of irregularities here and there, and unfortunately, you saw what happened. The federal powers were here to intimidate us, and so many people were even afraid of coming out to vote during that election. And it's quite unfortunate, because that is not a good signal for envisaged democratic development in Nigeria as a whole. So, but we went to the courts, the tribunal, the appeal court, the Supreme Court. They have made their decision, and we have put that behind us. By the grace of God, we are looking forward for better days ahead.
The gentleman, Professor Eleka, that you are known to be, when we look at your activities in politics, a lot of people will have said that you probably don't belong to Nigeria kind of system in politics. But here you are as a very, very vibrant and dogged, determined politician who believe the dividends of democracy must be felt and must be given back to the people.
Yeah.
Is that why you are in politics?
Well, politics and leadership, to me, all have to do with service. Being able to make meaningful contributions to development of the society. And if it all has to do with service to humanity, if it has to do with the welfare of the people, I believe I am in the right place. Because all my life, by the grace of God, I've been given to productive service, whether as an academics from 24 good years at Obafemi Awolowo University. God has enabled me to mentor so many young ones, some of whom today are professors, associate professors, senior lecturers. Some of them have become heads of department, deans of faculties. And not only that, in my professional field, as a registered builder, I've been very active in rendering service at that top level. I was once the chairman of Nigerian Institute of Building, Osun State chapter, for 3 years. Not only that, I was the registrar of Nigerian Institute of Building at the national level. I was also once the research and development and secretary. And currently, I'm serving as the chairman of Research and Development Committee. And so if you are talking about service, I think I'm in the right place. And for me, politics and leadership I see it as an opportunity to render effective service to the society. So that is my goal.
You served for 4 years, and which people could see vividly what your government was able to put on ground. A lot of people have actually witnessed it. Compared to what we are seeing today in Ekiti State, under the #1 governor in Nigeria, Governor John Kayode Fayemi, would you say, with all fear of sincerity, that the people got what they wanted, in fairness?
That was during our...
Yeah, during your time, and compared to what Ekiti people are saying today.
Well, if you want to pass judgment, or if you want to comment on the performances of the various governments, I think Ekiti people are in the best position to do that, because they are the receiving end of that governance process. However, let me go back to what happened between 2014 to 2018. By the grace of God, I served as the deputy governor under the leadership of Dr. Peter Ayodele Fayose as the governor. And you will agree with me that we did a lot during that administration. My governor served meritoriously. I also did. And in the area of education, we excelled. What we meant on grant was nothing to write home about. In Ekiti State, we pride ourselves at the fountain of knowledge. But a situation where in the state, we call ourselves fountain of knowledge. We see our students at the SSC level ranking very low, whether in examinations conducted by NECO or by WAEC. Scoring 33%, 29% is quite unfortunate. So when we came in, we felt that, look, this is not in tandem with our image. And I was given a mandate to turn things around to make things better within the education sector. And by the grace of God...
You meant you were in charge of education?
Yeah. Thanks to my leader, my then governor, Dr. Godfatherism, who gave me that opportunity. And we were able to turn things around. And within 3 years, space of 3 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, the records are there for anyone whoever wants to cross-check. In NECO SSC, Ekiti State was ranked first. Not only that, between 2014 to 2017, the percentage pass level of Ekiti State students at O.Eleka-SSC rose from 33% to over 70%. And I think that is a great achievement.
Of course. And
you will see the way teachers were motivated, teachers were recognized, and we also put in place effective monitoring system. We introduced the intervention lectures. We gave, that administration gave a free compendium of past questions freely to students. A compendium of past questions for the past 6-7 years in about 11 subjects were given out to students freely. So there's no excuse that I didn't. There was no excuse that I did not have access to past questions, because sometimes we discovered that a student who was preparing, right, for examination and could not boast of even having access to 1 year past question. So how do you expect such a student to do well in the exams? So we observed all this and we acted appropriately. We were actually proactive. So that government was actually proactive. So in the education sector, it was quite excellent. But unfortunately, I think the current administration came in and abandoned some of these good policies. And I believe our mission in governance should be to put in place policy trusts that will make things better for the state in different sectors. So we were able to do that in the education sector. And in the area of infrastructures, we did very well also within 2014 to 2018. So, but it's not for me to judge the performance of the current administration. The people are out there to do so. And for me, I can only say categorically that we did our best between 2014 to 2018.
Politics is all about relationship building and building it with major stakeholders. It was clearly seen during your tenure. Your relationship with your boss was so cordial and very, very lovable. A lot of people admired perhaps your loyalty and your humility serving under Dr. Fayose. What has actually gone wrong this time around? Because we're coming to 2022 and a lot of people want to know what is really happening. Why would the Messiah Oshokumale decided to syndicate interest in another personality and not Eleka at this time? What has gone wrong?
Well, thank you. Nothing has gone wrong. That is the basic, the summary. Nothing has gone wrong. All is a matter of interest. And don't forget, politics itself is dynamic. There are bound to be changes here and there. Let me take you back to 2014 to 2018, and even after, beyond. When I was serving as the deputy governor under Dr. Peter Adelefayose as the governor, like I said, I will always be grateful and thank God for that opportunity. God used him to provide for me to serve. I see it as part of God's divine agenda. God using Dr. Peter Adelefayose for me. It is a divine agenda which nobody can actually upturn. See, when God says this is what he is going to do, he knows how to go around it and ensure that those things are put in place. So I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in by chance. No, I believe it is within God's divine plan for me to be part of that administration. And the one thing about me is that my life is guided by the scriptures, the Holy Bible. I am a steward in that government. And steward, as a steward, 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 2 say, it is expected of a steward to be found faithful. Loyalty and faithfulness are key issues that should not be compromised. As a deputy governor, I have my limits. I never went beyond my limits. I took instructions from Mr. Governor. I never got myself involved in anything beyond the instructions I was given, beyond the tasks that were committed into my hands. He gave me opportunities to represent him at various levels, which I did meritoriously by the grace of God. And that was why you never find a single instance of disagreement between the two of us. You know, so many deputy governors who want to act as if they are governors. It's wrong. You see, your duties are delegated by the governor. And constitutionally, that's what the Constitution says. And any attempt to go beyond that would definitely bring in a chaotic situation. It cause friction between the governor and his deputy.
Was that the reason the then governor Fayose endorsed you?
Like I said, everything works according to God's plan. I never lobbied for to be endorsed, right? But he said God showed him that God directed him to do that. And while I was coming to politics, I had that understanding that God has something good for me in politics. And God's plans are like pages of a book. He opens, when you finish reading a chapter, you go to the next chapter, one after the other. The Bible says the secret things belongs to the Lord. But those things that are revealed belongs to us. So everything that has happened in the past are part of the secret things that God has revealed to us. There are still so many other things ahead, right? And also, don't forget that it's within the ambit of his constitutional right for Dr. Fayose to indicate his interest to support any aspirant of his choice. While I remain grateful to him for his support in 2018, he still remains my leader, right? He was my former boss, he remains my leader, right? And if this time around he says, well, he has an insight into supporting somebody else, that cannot be taken against him, right? That is his constitutional right. At the same time also, I, as somebody who is being led by God, as somebody who also has a purpose to fulfill, who has a destiny to fulfill, I also have a constitutional right to say, I want to recontest for the governorship.
All right, now let's talk about that position of contesting. As it stands, you've made it clear that you want to run for 2022, and of course, you have the right as a former deputy governor, and of course, as a citizen of Ekiti State. Owing by what has actually been going around, how would you prove your chances of getting the tickets of your party, the People's Democratic Party?
Well, first of all, let me say this, that we have not even started campaign, right? And so, you see, our people have been coming around telling me, Professor Eleka, we want you to come round and the contest, the people want you. I said, okay, good. We are praying, we are consulting. And we believe at the appropriate time, our full intentions will be made known. One can indicate interest, right? Or people can be urging you to come out to contest. There's nothing wrong there, right? But when the actual game begins, we'll definitely show our full, tell the people our full intentions. However, I want to say this, that whatever we are doing now, right, is born out of desire to make Ekiti better. For me, my vision is to put in place an effective socio-economic system that will make this, for the overall well-being of Ekiti State. And my mission is to promote policy trust, right, that will launch Ekiti State into the committee of industrially viable states. Today now in Ekiti State, and from my experience in governance, Ekiti State is being tagged a civil servant state, which for me, for how long are we going to continue in that state? There's a need to move from that level. We need to be able to generate revenue internally. We should not be depending on allocations from the federal government always, right? Our economy needs to improve in Ekiti State. Innovatively. We need jobs. We need to create jobs. We need to create wealth for our people, right? We need to encourage private investors to come in, because government alone cannot do it. If our government internationally now, government has a little to do in terms of doing business, but they can provide environment that makes doing business easier, right? So when I think of all this, I believe I have the grace, I have the capability, I have the competency to come in to serve as the governor of Ekiti State, if God will desire so.
Okay, there is an area that I would love you to address. That will be after this break. In terms of zoning in Ekiti State and zoning in Nigeria, we're going to look at that holistically and see how we can get a very clear understanding on that perspective. Viewers, we are still having with us here Professor O.Eleka-Tnntv, the former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, former candidate of People Democratic Party in the last election in the same state. And he has been telling us some of the things that has not been in the clear to many people who have interest in Ekiti politics. I tell you, after this time out, is going to deep more into some of the areas that actually need clarification, that actually need understanding concerning the rotational politics in Nigeria, and of course, that of Ekiti State. Stay back, don't go anywhere.
JPTS, Institute of Management, Science and Technology, an accredited tertiary institution of learning. JPTS has international affiliation and the degree certificate is recognized anywhere within Nigeria and abroad. Obtain your bachelor, PGD or master's degree with us. We run weekend programs Saturday and Sunday now in Ore. It means you can earn your BSc, PGD or MSc while working or doing your business. We have courses in management education, physical and health sciences, and engineering. We also run professional courses. Our school fees is very flexible and affordable. And the beautiful thing is the access to student scholarships up to 90% waiver after you pass the scholarship exam. The first 1,000 students to register would be awarded scholarships this next academic session. This scholarship scheme is sponsored and funded by the Onshore and Offshore Oil and Gas Professional Association of Nigeria and brought to you by Global Wealth System and supported by Tunji Rema Foundation. Residents of Akure, Ondo City, Irele, Igbokoda, Okitipupa, Ore, and their environs who are teachers, politicians, civil servants, business and career people, students that are looking for admission can now easily study with us every weekend to earn their BSc, PGD or master's degree. This program is reliable and authentic. You do not need JAMB to be admitted. Apply with your O-level results, and those with awaiting results can also apply. Graduating students can be mobilized for NYSC. Interested applicants can proceed to JPTS Admission Processing Office, Rema Building, opposite Baba Dada Junction, along Okitipupa Road, Ore, and register for the scholarship and admission entrance exams. Registration is free. The scholarships and admission entrance exam comes up on Saturday, 4th September 2021 by 10 a.m. at Ore. For more inquiries, visit our office or call 080-5522-3858. Again, 080-5522-3858 or 0703-846-0392.
still have our guest right here with us, Professor Kolapo Oleka, the former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State. Prof, talking about rotational politics in Nigeria. Though a lot of people, a lot of legal practitioners have actually proven it clearly that it is not constitution, it's not part of our constitution, but a lot of political parties believe so much in rotating power when it comes to getting who is to run or who is to occupy a particular position in Nigeria. Looking at Nigeria today, a few months ago, a group of governors all over the south came together and said they want the power to be rotated to the south to produce presidency. And we have PDP, we have the APC, we have the AFGA that are made up of the south. And collectively, unanimously, this gave a voice that the south should produce presidency. What is your take on this?
Well, thank you. The issue you are raising is not just peculiar to Nigeria. It's also happening in so many other states across the nation. Yeah, I agree with those people who have been saying that issue of rotational presidency or zoning the presidency to a particular section of the country is not constitutional. Yeah, it was not spelled out like that. Yeah, I agree. However, the issue of fairness, equity, and morality, right, simply tells us that a particular section of the country cannot continue to dominate others. Otherwise, it is no more a nation. Everybody should feel belonged. And that is why you see agitations coming around. The president must come from the south. The north they are about spending 8 years now. So the next president should come from the south. Though generally, while you cannot fault the agitation, at the same time, what we desire in this country today is right leadership. Whether it comes from the south, whether the leadership comes from the north, leadership that will bring in better days ahead for Nigeria. Our problem in Nigeria has been problem of leadership. Look at the current APC-led government for the past 6 years now. See, what have they achieved? See, we are not even sure whether we even have a president. I mean, it's quite unfortunate. There have been a lot of talks here and there about who our president, about this and that, president not being on ground, and so on and so forth. But if we have the right leadership at different levels of government, I think we are going to have blissful existence in this nation. In a nutshell,
so you believe in rotational?
Well, there's nothing wrong about rotational presidency, right? There's nothing wrong. Like I say, it's not entrenched in our constitution, so we cannot enforce it. However, when you consider issues of morality, issues of fairness and equity, you cannot fault those agitating for that.
Okay, let's go back to Ekiti State. The same is actually going on now, like the Central has produced governor in Ekiti State, the North has produced governor in Ekiti State. It is the turn of the South. Would you say, fine, coincidentally you are from the South part of Ekiti State, and of course, with this agitation, how fair or how would you see it? Would you actually see it as a privilege or as an advantage to your candidacy if you pick the ticket?
Yeah, thank you. I still, whatever is happening at the federal level is also happening at the state level. Go to Anambra State, for instance. You see, they have conducted their primaries. You observe that virtually all the candidates came from the Anambra South. There was this agitation that, look, it is the turn of Anambra South, right? And the agitation was so thick that eventually all that those that emerged were from different parties.
Why is it that the South are always marginalized? What has actually...
well, you see, that may be a coincidence. So there's nothing wrong with the name South.
Okay.
The name South, there's nothing wrong with the name South. It may be just a mere coincidence. But what I'm saying in essence is that, you see, you as human beings, we have this tendency, right, to be given fear hearing.
Okay.
We have this tendency to align ourselves with issues of equity.
That's correct.
It's natural. We have this tendency also to say, look, yeah, this thing may not be constitutional, it's not written like that in the constitution, but you consider issues of morality.
Humanly thinking.
How can a particular section be dominating others? So in the Ekiti state, for instance, the north and the central, our brothers from the north and central have been occupying the positions of the governor for almost 24 years now.
Of the creation of
Ekiti state. Now, and the south, including the KBACs, elites, and so many notable people, market women, they are all saying, look, what is our lot in the south? But don't forget that it is their right to agitate, to be given fair consideration. It's not only in PDP, even in APC.
The Olukere significantly never hide his interest, and he has always made his voice clear on these very points, that it is the right of the people to choose who becomes the governor, but it is very, very fair that the South should be given the chance this time around.
Well, you see, so many people have been making their views known, especially from the South. It's just been fair to say that, look, let all the parties, right, select their candidate from the South, so that the South can also be given a fair consideration. Are you following? It's just being fair. However, don't forget that the South alone cannot make their own sons or daughters governor. We still need the cooperation of our people from the North Central District and the Central District. So in the overall, it is a Ekiti agenda. However, it will be to the advantage of any party to pick their candidate from the South in this season. Why? Because the South now are very much willing to back any party that picks their candidate from the South because of the perceived long years of marginalization.
On that note, would you consider this as part of the reasons you decided, or you are deciding to run?
No, it's not really about South agenda, right? I've said it. I've had the opportunity of being in governance for 4 good years, even at a very high level. It's just one level short of the governorship, right? And I've seen a lot. I've identified gaps, right? And like I've told you right from the beginning of this interview, all my life I've been committed to rendering productive service. I am eager and I desire, right, to be given that opportunity to self-extend that capacity so that I can also make my own meaningful contributions to the development of Ekiti State, especially in providing solution metrics to the identified gaps.
Mentioning the identified gaps, we know there are gaps on ground that needs to be filled up, but basically as a professor and of course a person coming from the academic arena, would you say that if you are there today, ABCD would be done differently from what we are witnessing? Or how are you going to?
Well, I'll give you an example. I gave you an example the other time within the education sector, right? I don't want to repeat that.
Yeah.
That is one thing we did differently, and we got excellent results. You know, the solutions we are localized. You don't have to travel to heaven to go and bring solutions. Of course, all solutions come from God, right? But the solutions are localized. So being able to put in place workable templates that will revolutionize sectors like education, health, agriculture, right, are desirable qualities of whoever wants to be governor of Ekiti State in this season, right? Now, let me still go to that education sector. One of the things we did, which was completed by Dr. Godfatherism administration, was transforming the technical education sector. Okay. You know, we carried out a tracer study of the graduates of our technical schools. We discovered that it's good, over 70% of them were no more fully engaged in the trade they went to learn or study in the technical colleges after graduating. A good number of them are now doing Okada or doing some other kind of businesses that has nothing to do with the trade they were, they studied in the technical colleges. Not only that, I visited all the 5 technical colleges and discovered that all the equipment there were moribund. Then I begin to wonder, how then can you effectively train people to acquire skills? And don't forget, one quick way of helping youths in this time around, in this generation, is to equip them with skills that could easily create wealth. Skills that could, and you cannot do that without giving due attention to vocational and technical education. So I felt, what is the first thing to do? We sat down. I invited the stakeholders. We agreed that the first thing is that we have to remove all this obsolete equipment. Equipment that can no more be used even for training, even for practice, for very old equipment, set of equipment. So we sat down. We said, okay, we cannot finish all these 5 government technical colleges at a time. Let us start with government technical college at Ekiti. And we sat down, we did a budget, and thank God our governor approved it, the ESCO approved it, and the project was commenced. And today, if you look at the buildings, look at the equipment in the government technical college at Ekiti today, is quite amazing compared to what it used to be. And you know, the interesting thing is that so many people are not interested in going to technical college. Hardly will you have total population up to 200. Today now, you see the population is over 1,500 in Ekiti alone. So if we're able to repeat that in other colleges, you could imagine what will happen. Now, what was the focus? What was the goal? Our students will be properly trained. The teachers will also be trained in the use of the modern tools, right? We will recruit young minds, right, in those technical fields, right? And ensure that they are given appropriate and practical training so that they'll be able to acquire the necessary skills that are needed. Not only that, by the time they are graduating, government will also be able to look. We know you may need some tools, you may to start work. So initial set of tools, government could make those provisions for them. Because when they are graduating, right, as part of our contribution to your development, we are providing you with this set of tools. Government can do that. Then government can now stand as guarantors for them to get loans from Bank of Industry, Bank of Agri, depending on the areas, right? To be able to establish and do proper monitoring. Please, that is one area where government have been failing. You guarantee people, you guarantee loans for people, and you don't put in mechanism for effective monitoring. And that is how those loans are misused. They are not used properly, right? Not only that, our goal was also to open up that place, right, between the hours of 4 to 7 to young people, elderly ones, whoever wants to acquire one skill or the other, so that after 6 months or 1 year, they'll be certificated professionally. And then government can also do similar backing for them, right? With that, you'll be able to create, eventually we can create cottage industries here and there. And you see people being able to earn some income, right? One of the things we introduced in the government technical college while we were in the office was shoemaking, right? Our intention was that, look, can't we make sandals that can be used by all our students in Ekiti? Branded Ekiti-made sandals. It's not possible. It's possible. So we created a shoemaking workshop there, and that course has been introduced also in the government technical college. We should be able to what do you call it? The tailoring section, the garment making section, right? We have modern equipment there. All you need to do is there are some equipment that people outside may not be able to afford to. Bring your products, bring it to the technical college, they'll finish it for you. Wow. You pay a little amount of money, you take it back. So these are some of the things that we were able to do in that area. You know, if you don't give due attention to vocational and technical education, we're going to still have serious challenges. It's a way of investing in the future of the youth. I don't believe in all this empowerment. Well, empowerment is good, but you see, we say you are empowering youths, you give them bike. You are empowering youths, you give them a rata, grinding machine.
Which
right?
is very, very common among
Are you following now? You give them a small refrigerator, see, right? Yeah, they are good in one way or the other. But
wheelbarrow.
And maybe in some states, up north, if I'm right, how can you be distributing wheelbarrows for youth and say you are empowering them? You see, I believe rather in what I call youth investment. Investing in the youths, see, invest in them, see, give them tools they can work with and back them up. Monitor the activities.
Modern tools.
The same thing can be extended also into agriculture, right? If you look at Ekiti State now today, right, there is hardly any fruit that cannot be grown on the soil of Ekiti State. Watermelon is being grown now in Ekiti State. There is hardly any fruit that cannot be grown on the soil of Ekiti State. But what are we doing? If I want to, at the back of my backyard now, right, I can grow tomatoes and so on and so forth. See? So can't we encourage our youths, get large acres of land, divide them into plots for them? See, government monitoring. Government's role is to monitor, right, and probably assist in providing hybrid seeds, inputs, and so on and so forth, and of course, in the eventual marketing of those products. And also, exploring the entire value chain. In Ekiti State, we produce a lot of banana. Most of them are just being wasted in the farms. They cannot get people to buy them. You see them loading oranges, loading yam. You go to America, you have inyado. What is inyado? Inyado simply means yam flour, right? That was produced from the yam imported from Ekiti State. Can't we have those yam flour produced in Ekiti State? Let's encourage private investors to come in. And I think the present government is doing fairly well in that area, because we have to be frank and be sincere with ourselves.
That's correct.
Dr. Godfatherism is doing fairly well in that area on agribusiness, right? But we can still do a lot more.
All right, we'll come back. Ekiti State is one of the very popular states in the southwest because they have this mono-ethnic understanding amongst themselves. Virtually, you see a town or a community that is not tagged Ekiti. You see Ire, Ekiti, Ikere, Ekiti. Everything goes with Ekiti. That's why they have, virtually they have this common thing that binds them together. And here is one of the sons of the land, Professor Kolapo, O.Eleka. Prof, your party, the People's Democratic Party, today we are seeing a lot of pocket of challenges that is actually pump up at the central. What is actually happening? Would this affect the 2022 and 2023 general election? And after reacting to that, we would love you to just give us some of the things you think needed to be done in terms of mediating problems that we're having in security architecture of Nigeria and, of course, Ekiti State?
Well, thank you. Internal wranglings are not peculiar to People's Democratic Party. The APC also have their own internal conflicts. The same thing so many other parties. The most important thing is that a party should be able to have an effective conflict resolution mechanism, an internal conflict resolution mechanism. There should be a way of resolving their differences. And I think the People's Democratic Party is already doing that. Look at the Sharaki led reconciliation committee going from one state to the other, and God is helping them. They are getting good results, right? Look at what is happening recently about some of the seeming confusion, right, that pervades the entire party secretariat in terms of some people saying, well, secondaries must go and things like that. The leaders of the party, the different caucuses, they rose and they have met, and I think they are still meeting. And definitely we are getting good results, right? Yeah, there's nothing, if a chairman is not doing well, right, it is normal for those under him to say, look, Mr. Chairman, you are not doing well, right? But that does not mean that we should tear the party apart. Don't forget, Mr. Chairman is a human being, right? He may have his own deficiencies, right? It's also honorable for him also to hone up if he's deficient in one area or the other. At the same time, we cannot say because he's deficient, we're going to tear the party apart. So that is why elders have risen up and they're taking appropriate measures to address the situation. And I think it's not something that's going to affect our chances in 2022 or 2023 because the crisis is almost resolved.
Interesting. I wish your party best of luck in resolving that crisis.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the security situation in Nigeria. It's alarming, and sometimes one wondered, is it not the same country, though some of us are still very young, that we lived, you can travel at your very convenient time. You travel from the south to the east to the west without panicking. But today, it's not like that. What is actually happening? Because before now, we'll be thinking about kidnapping. Kidnapping led to Boko Haram, from Boko Haram to, what was this one very common? The S-men. Bandits here and there. What has actually gone wrong? What is happening in Nigeria? How did we get here? You are a politician, sir. Please, Nigerians need you to react to this.
Yeah, the problem is with the Nigerians.
How?
Thank you. You know, when we fail to put in place the right leadership, our problem in this country is leadership problem. When Jonathan was there as president, some people rose up. The APC people, they rose up. They were using Chibok girls kidnapping saga to blackmail him, right? They was the one saying he's not doing well. Rufai will start shouting up there in the north, right? And so many of them like that. But you can imagine what is happening now. Under the same APC-led government since 2015, when they have been there. You can imagine how many Chibok-like saga.
Several stories have been kidnapped even under the same
Chibok-like saga that have taken place, even under the nose of some of the governors. And during Jonathan's regime, no governor was attacked. Look at Borno State governor. Severally have been attacked. Imagine, so who is safe? If a governor with all the security, who is safe? That is why you see the whole thing now being replicated virtually everywhere. In the Ekiti State, just some few days ago, people returning from a burial service, right? One man was kidnapped. I think they said between Ewu and Ayetoro or something like that. See, was kidnapped, was shot dead. One man was shot dead, and 4 others were kidnapped. Up to now, we are yet to get any news about their whereabouts. That is just one of recent. So many incidences like that have occurred, especially along that Isha, Iludun, Ewu, Ayetoro axis, right? There have been a lot of kidnappings of recent this year. And we are seeing that we need to do something urgent about security. For me, I believe, number one, leadership should have sincerity of purpose. We'll be talking about agriculture, we'll be talking about development generally. Without adequate security measures put in place, we cannot have meaningful development.
That's correct.
People are afraid of going to farms now, right? Where there is no proper security, effective security system put in place, there cannot be any meaningful development. So I believe one area where we really need to work on is deploying modern technology in gathering intelligence, security intelligence. This is very important. This is a big missing gap. If they are doing something about it, they are not doing it enough. Security, gathering intelligence about security in the various localities. We need to start deploying modern equipment. The use of drones these are some of the very simple technologies now, right? There are so many others, right? So if we're able to deploy modern technology to gather intelligence, right, about security matters, I think government will be able to proactively arrest some of the institutions before they occur. For instance, now we have been saying that along Ishan, Iludun, Ewu, that Ilejemeje side and Idosi side, a lot of kidnappings are taking place. Definitely those committed those acts, those evil acts, they are around that area. Whether a collusion between the local people and the Fulani headsmen, right, or the criminals, they are all criminals. Whoever is involved in that, they are criminals. Definitely, they have a network around that area. I remember when we were in government, issues like this occurred. The governor was very proactive. He brought in local people who were actually assisting in gathering intelligence, right? Not only that, there was synergy between the various security agencies, and they were able to flush out. Look at then, there was trouble for you to pass through Waraja, from Waraja to Efon. Was a problem. Irio side, down Irio, Efon, Aramoko side was a problem. But they were able to flush out these criminals out of this. You observe now for a good number of years now, you've not heard about kidnapping in those areas again, right? So these are some of the issues, sir. Gathering intelligence and being proactive enough. All
right, Prof, you agree with me that a lot of people have actually argued this, that Nigeria is more divided now than ever, and that is as a result of the failure of government or failure of the system, and a lot of people do not actually believe in the one Nigeria, and that has escalated to so many things in the country which everybody is aware of, like what led to coming up of Sunday Igboho and amongst others. What can you say to the youth? Because most of these problems are executed or taken by the youth between the age of 18 and 35. And these same youths, a lot of people believe, are being used by the politicians, and after being used, they are dumped without a proper care. As a professor and as a lecturer, and of course a politician, and who is also still wanting to come back to power, what do you think the youth need at this time? What can be done? How would you address Nigerian youth? How would you address Ekiti youths?
Well, if only the youth we realize that the soul of the nation is in their hands. The soul of the nation is in their hands. First of all, before you can become useful to your nation, first of all, you must be useful to yourself. That's number one. Our youth should first of all learn to be useful to themselves. I started mentoring youth even as a youth. I started lecturing at the age of 22.
At the age of 20?
Yeah, 1990 by the grace of God, as a graduate assistant, and I rose from there, from that level, to become a professor October 1, 2012, effectively. And I've seen a lot. If as a young man, young woman, you are not useful to yourself, you cannot be useful to your nation.
Wow.
And that is why you see many of them do not, you see, they don't really understand what they want. That is why you see them being used and dumped. I can't imagine somebody now coming around telling me when I was very young to do those things that I know will not be beneficial to me, will not be beneficial to my community, to the society. I will never be part of it. Because first of all, I've learned to be at the place of service. So first of all, the youth must be useful to themselves. They must also understand what they want in life. Otherwise, they will always grab whatever is thrown at them. When the politicians, the greedy ones, throw toggery at them, they will grab it. And that's why later they will say they have been used and dumped. Yeah, they allowed it. They allowed themselves to be used and dumped. See? And that is why the conversation, the narratives surrounding the kind of leadership should change. The youth should be able to have a right conversation about who and who should be our governor, who and who should be our president. Right? Youths are the Bible says the glory of the youth is their strength. If you look around me now today, most of the people working with me are young people. Well, you know, the head of my media team is a young man. Right? So many of them in that team. Right? And sometimes when I look at what these guys are doing, it's amazing. They have the brains, they have the strength, they have the good initiatives, very innovative ideas.
And the energy is still there.
Right? But if also they can submit themselves to purposeful and awesome leadership, that's another thing the youth should be on the lookout for. Submitting themselves to purposeful and awesome leadership so that they can be guided to the right place of leadership in future. Not submitting themselves to greedy and selfish leadership who will only come around, use them and dump them. That's why they need to open their two eyes to know and who to follow. I don't believe in Godfatherism. I've said this so many times, but I believe in proper mentoring. Our youth need to be properly mentored. But then they should be open their two eyes so that they know who and who to submit to.
With positive mental attitudes.
Positive mental attitudes, yeah. Our youths have been very, very wonderful. They pushed the not too young to run bill, and it was successful, right? They were at the forefront of advocacy when it comes to abolishing SARS, whose mandate was to SARS was meant to protect the youths, protect the society, but they turned around and started working against their mandate, harassing the same youths they were meant to protect. So the NSAS was championed by young people. Some of them sacrificed their lives. So in Nigeria, by the grace of God, we have skillful youths. We have brilliant youths. They only need to be properly oriented so that they can make good use of their energy, make good use of their strength, make good use of their brains. Many young people are doing excellently well out there, even in this country, even in Ekiti State.
Sure.
So I believe that our young ones, right, needs to first of all put themselves in the place of service, learn to do something useful, productive. They should understand what they want. They should submit themselves to awesome and purposeful leadership so that they can be properly mentored. With that, they'll be able to have the right mentality towards politics and governance.
Thank you very much, Professor Kolapo O.Eleka, for coming on this show. But finally, before I let go, I want to give your final message to Ekiti people and, of course, to your fatherland, Nigeria.
Well, first of all, let me encourage everybody to go and get their PVC. If you want to effect a change in leadership, you cannot do that without being part of the system, the electoral system. So I want to appeal to everyone who is yet to get a PVC should please go out there and get their PVC. And also, if you want to be part of politics, you need to register to be part of a political party. Currently, my party has started the registration. It's about to commence the registration. And I want to tell Nigerians that PDP is the party to belong to. You are very much welcome to PDP, and you can be rest assured that you will not regret doing that. And to our leaders, please let us realize that Nigeria needs us. And not only that, Nigeria also needs to be restructured. We need a restructured Nigeria where everybody, irrespective of age, tribe, religion, will feel belonged and be able to make right decisions. God bless Nigeria. God bless Ekiti State.
Thank you very much, Professor, for coming on this platform. Nice having you.
Thank you.
Viewers, you've actually enjoyed yourself, and I believe a lot of word of encouragement has been given to our youth, especially the active youths who believe there can be a better Nigeria. And this is the time for us to come together unanimously and put our energy together in order to get this country back to the land of Eldorado. I still remain your host, Sheon Akine. Till I come on another episode, stay blessed and have a wonderful Sunday.